Welcome to the London Outlook for Wednesday, the 13th of March 2024. Starting off with the economic calendar, we have read for the GDP news for the GBPUSD. For the British pound at ease, and that will set the tone for the London session and likely for the New York session as well. Since there's no New York session news, this 30-year bond auction news will be subsequent to our trading session window and thus doesn't have any bearing on our trading decisions for today. So all eyes will be on this GDP news, and dependent on whether it's positive or negative will guide us as to which direction to trade in. Remember that we are in an uncertain scenario and need to trade accordingly. From a daily perspective, there isn't any daily bias to concern ourselves with, and then from a 4H perspective, what we can understand here is that there's a couple of ways to trade, both longs and short. We are in an uncertain scenario and we are reacting to both a and unconfirmed 4HOB as well as a primary and previously confirmed leg for HOB. So there's both reasons to long and short. There's an available substructure low to target as well as a substructure high to target. The substructure high and the swing high are currently one and the same. Essentially, in terms of trading, from a 5-minute perspective, what we can see is that whilst we did react to this 4H and unconfirmed OB, we're still in this range and haven't yet validated this leg right here. So we need to exit the range and then we can consider validating the leg. However, once we do validate the leg up here, we're reacting into a 4HOB, which poses a barrier for us to trade longs. And thus, in order to trade against this barrier, we will need to validate new IRL as well as validate the new low of the day to support why that IRL may be targeted. Alternatively, this 4HOB may be body broken. However, there isn't much space between this 4HOB and that one, and thus the likelihood of trading without a barrier in terms of longs is quite challenging. In terms of shorting, I think this is more favorable, and how we can make this work is essentially, again, we need to validate a reaction point. Unfortunately, we're still stuck inside this range, so either way we need price to come up above this range and then we can validate a new leg as such, that being a bearish leg. So that remains to be seen. Of course, what this essentially means is that we're potentially favoring shorts rather than longs. It will mean that we need negative GDP news in order to consider taking those short entries. Alternatively, the news can be negative and will come all the way down, at which point we would have achieved a substructure target, which is considered a significant target under unconfirmed scenario state, and thus this would disable us from trading any further short positions and would only enable us to take long positions. However, if GBP news is negative, then it eliminates any ideas for shorting for the day, and since we don't have any other USD news later in the day to validate why longs would make sense, any further long positions would be invalidated if GBP news is negative. So that's pretty much the London outlook. Just to summarize, essentially we can trade both directions. However, it's all dependent on what this GBP news is. Obviously, if it's neutral, then it will enable us to trade both directions. We do, however, need to ensure that we get out of this range to validate reaction points to this 4H primary OB or to validate the long leg right here. Either way, the most important time to monitor is 9 AM and then to evaluate our trading decisions accordingly. If I can play out a scenario to maybe illustrate this, so let me just remove these drawings quickly. So the scenario would be as such: GBP news is negative, however it causes a spike above this range. We then get a Frankfurt high of the day and then a subsequent low of the day validation of the Frankfurt high of the day, from which we can short from right here with the objective of targeting this level right here and having available IRL. That would be one way to get into short positions. Also remember, we are in an unconfirmed scenario, so we're targeting a fixed 123 or 125, whatever is possible within this area right here. So that's pretty much the London outlook. We'll chat again for the New York outlook, and I hope you have a good trading session.